Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Just Bulldogs podcast. Here for our first preview episode of the 2025 preseason. Bulldogs taking on the West Tigers at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Very excited to have football back. Our first hit out, mostly a New South Wales Cup and some of our young pups in this side. Not a lot of NRL talent, but a couple of guys that I definitely think we will see at some point during the 2025 season. So, definitely a game I'm very excited for, um, especially some of our young pups that some of us might see for the first time, but a few guys that I've been keeping an eye on for the past couple of seasons. So, I'll run through the team list. For the Bulldogs, Blake Taff at fullback. On the wings, Blake Wilson and Jonathan Sewer, Luke Smith and Denny Gabriel in the centres, Drew Hutchison at 5'8", with Joey O'Neill at halfback, Daniel Saluka for feeder, and Sam Hughes partner in the front row, with Bailey Hayward at dummy half. Harry Hayes and Lipoy Hopoy are in the back row with Jamin Salmon at lock. On the bench, Ruben Moyle, Tom Amone, Ale Colasimi Jones, and Jack Todd. As it's trial, we get very long benches. Everyone will be playing, so keep that going with Cassius Tia, Tay Cochrane, Logan Spinks, Ratu Rinakama, new recruit Zion Ma'uu, Ruggareeve Wavik, Cooper Toy, Tanyela Otokolo, Jed Reardon, Joseph Talpa, and Jack Underhill. A few players there that I haven't seen yet, so I'm pretty excited to see, but a few young fellas that I'm very excited that I have seen a little bit of them playing. Quickly run through this Tigers lineup as well. Their fullback Heath Mason on the wings, ex-Bulldog Gerald Skelton and Alex Lobb. Their centers Solomona Fadayape and Josh Felity. In the halves, Lachlan Galvin and Latu Fainu, a couple of young, exciting halves. Their starting front row is Tim Johansson and David Clemmer, ex-Bulldog, with Talon De Silva, captain and hooker. Back row is Tony Suka and Sione Fainu, and Justin Matamua packs in a lock. Their bench, Tristan Hope, Kit Lalili, Jackson Rame, and Solomon Sakuru. Will Craig, Lachlan Brodelo, Mark Tanus, Falatino Tavana, Max Lyles, Jared Haywood, and Noah Johansson. As I said, very excited, as I bet a lot of our Bulldogs fans are for this game. Some of the things to look out for are looking for a big game from our wingers, Blake Wilson and Jonathan Sewer. Both of them definitely going to be fighting to get into this NRL side. Particularly Blake Wilson, it seemed like he was in a bit of a battle with Marcelo Montoya, and the fact that Blake Wilson is playing in this trial game seems like Marcelo Montoya has the upper hand so far. For the NRL wing jersey. So Blake Wilson will definitely be looking to have a big game. I'm hoping that he can match up against Gerald Skelton in this one. If anything, Blake Wilson, he probably just needs to pick up a little bit of form in defense and going up against a very big body, a very strong runner. If he can really shut down Gerald, it could definitely lift his chances into getting into the run on side. Jonathan Sewer, part of the Bulldogs development squad this season, one of 6 or 7 players there. Made his debut at the back end of last year and looked pretty good on the field, got through a ton of work, ran for a fair amount of meters, so a player that'll definitely be looking to get a couple more first grade games under his belt. I don't know a whole lot about the centers. Denny Gabriel, younger brother of Michael Gabriel, who was part of the Connor Tracy trade with the Cronulla Sharks. So pretty excited to see how he goes. Luke Smith, I've seen a little bit of. I think he's more of a back rower, but last season he played majority back row, a little bit of lock. So see how he goes in the centers. See if that's something that they're looking to move into for the future, or if it's just for this game. Blake Taff at fullback, we've seen a lot of him. He'll be our backup fullback for the 2025 season. If Connor Tracy goes down at all, I would expect Blake Taff probably the one that will come in to cover for him, but not too much to talk about there. The halves, Drew Hutchison and Joseph O'Neill. Hutcho, probably the backup for this season once again, unless one of these young kids can really show what they've got and force their way into the NRL side to cover any injuries or suspensions. There's a couple of kids in this side that I'm definitely excited for. So if we can see them in the NRL this year, we're definitely keen to check them out. Joey O'Neill is one of those. Played a lot of New South Wales Cup last year. Very good in attack. He's pretty silky with his hands, a good runner of the football. Just has some defensive issues that he really needs to try to get on top of, but he is a young player, so definitely a good chance that he will be able to sort those out before he gets into the top grade. So expect big things from him in this one, and hopefully he can lock down that 7 jersey in New South Wales Cup and really continue to develop his skills. I'll jump down to the extended just to continue that position talking. Cassius Tia in the number 19 jersey. He's another one, a halfback that had a very good 2025 season. He will be probably in the mix for an NRL jersey if there are any injuries to cover. If Toby Sexton or Matt Burton go down, if either of them, if Matt Burton gets called up for Origin, or if either of them are injured or suspended, Cassius T is probably not too far off potentially getting a NRL game under his belt. So we'll see him if he can get some New South Wales Cup time this season. Him and Joey O'Neill definitely fighting for a chance to play in the NRL. So we'll hopefully get to see some of them featuring on the extended bench throughout the year. And we'll see if either of them can get a run on the field. Continuing through the lineup. Front rowers, Daniel Saluka Fafita and Selma Hughes starting in this one. In the 17, they also have Tom Amone and Jack Todd. I believe all of them are pretty well fighting it out for either a starting front row position or a bench spot. Max King locks down one. We have Josh Curran, Setili Tupanua as locker as either a starting front row or a spot on the bench. So there's still one more spot to grab. So if Sam Hughes can continue his form and hold on to his jersey, he's definitely going to have to show some pretty good footy on the field to stop the likes of Daniel Saluka Fafita, Tom Amone, and young Jack Todd if he can really crack some form. Was very close to debuting last year before an injury erupted his season, but he'll definitely be in the mix to try to get a jersey in the NRL team at some point this season. Something to definitely look out for. Along with them, we also have new recruit Zion Ma'uu coming over from the New Zealand Warriors, 21-year-old, big body, a player that I'm pretty excited to see this weekend, but he will also be fighting for a spot in the NRL side this year. Coming over from the Warriors, he was on the edge of the first grade side. He got one game last year, but it looked like he was a chance to get a bench spot coming into this season. Definitely still fighting for it. No guarantees for him, but with him coming over to the Bulldogs, I would assume he would be thinking that there's a NRL jersey there for him at some point. So I definitely think he will be fighting for a spot on our bench sometime early this season. And then also Jack Underhill, a very exciting young Bulldog. Jack Underhill and Jack Todd have just re-signed for the Bulldogs for a few more seasons. I believe Jack Todd till 27 and Jack Underhill till 2029. So a couple of very good young Bulldogs that I'm very excited to see whenever their time comes to play in the top grade. But I'll definitely be keeping an eye on them in this trial game. A couple of very exciting young front rowers. Jack Underhill and Jack Todd, along with Zion Ma'uu, players that you should definitely be keeping an eye on in this game. But moving on, our back rowers, Harry Hayes and Lipui Hopway, we've seen a bit of them in the 2024 season. Harry Hayes really owned that bench middle spot towards the back end of the year, a player that I'm pretty fond of. I do like the way that he plays on the field. Absolute workhorse, makes all of his tackles and really gets into the thick of it. It's going to be pretty tough for him to get into this side in 2025, I believe, with a bit more depth in the position. But I do believe he sign an extension. He's in the top 30 now, so he'll definitely be in the mix. And we probably will see him in 2025. Just going to take a bit more for him to get there, I think. But yeah, I am a big fan of Harry Hayes. And then Lipboy Hopboy, I think he's in the development squad once again. Got a few games last year, but didn't get very big minutes on the field. A pretty good player that could develop into something, but right now definitely going to have to play his trade in the New South Wales Cup and potentially work his way back up. But yeah, quality young player for the Bulldogs. And then Jamin Salmon at lock, really fighting with Bailey Hayward, who I did miss. Sorry, Bailey Hayward at dummy half. Those two, Hayward and Jamin Salmon, will be fighting it out for that 14 jersey, I believe. Hayward, they're both versatile, but in different ways. Hayward can play that 9 role very well, cover the 6 and 7, and played very well in the 13 jersey last year. Jamin Salmon can cover the back row and centre at a pinch. But yeah, plays well in that 13 role as well. So looking for some pretty big things from both of them. Sorry. So yeah, they'll both be looking to have a big game in this one. Getting to our interchange, there are a lot of names here that I haven't seen play yet. So I'm probably going to skim over a few. Ruben Moyle, a dummy half, played a handful of New South Wales Cup games last year off the bench. I don't have a whole lot to say about him, but I'll definitely be excited to see him get on the field. I'll skip through to some of the ones that I do know. Sorry. Logan Spinks, Australian schoolboy back rower. He was 18th man for the New South Wales under-19 squad last season, so definitely got a bit of talent about him. A player that I'll definitely be excited to get on the field, see how he plays. And yeah, that's about it. There's a few more names there that I don't know a whole lot about, but I'll be definitely excited to see how they go when they get on the field. A few of these boys will definitely stand out and make me watch them a bit more. So hopefully see some good things from some more of our young pups. The way that this game goes, I'm definitely not too worried about our winners and losers. We always want our dogs to win. I'll definitely be rooting for them to come away with a win. But it's all about us just seeing how the structure goes, seeing how some kids play together. There's a lot of these players definitely wouldn't have played a whole lot of football together. The starting side may have, but then you sort of throw some of these newer Bulldogs in. They're going to try to have to get some combinations going early. So I'll be more looking for players that stand out, trying to see some combinations, see how some of these young halves in particular stand up in this one and try to take control of these teams that maybe they haven't played too much football with. But players that I'll be really looking out for, some spotlight players in this one. Blake Wilson, I'm a big fan of his. I really thought he would have been a good chance to lock in a wing spot for 2025, but it looks like he's been pushed back a spot. So I really think he'll come out on fire trying to get that wing spot back. I think he plays some pretty good footy. He's pretty good coming out of our own end. He finds his front, and then he's a pretty good finisher as well with some decent speed about him. So looking for a big game from Blake Wilson. Bailey Hayward, last year was his first year in NRL. So second year with another good preseason under his belt. I expect a pretty good game from him. Playing in the dummy half role, but I do think we will see him drop back to 13 at some point, as that's where he'll be spending most of his time in the NRL side. Very excited for Joey O'Neill and Cassius Tia. See if one of them stands out in this one. See if they can get on the field at the same time and really get a bit of a partnership going. Would be good to see. And then the big thing in this one is the front row rotation. See which one of these players really stands out, whether it is Saluk Fafita or Sam Hughes, Tom Amone, or if it is some of our younger kids in Jack Todd, Jack Underhill, and Zion Ma'u. So definitely plenty to look out for here. Hopefully, Dogs can come out with a win, but just absolutely stoked to get some football back on the TV. Always excited for the football season to start again. So make sure to check out at Just Bulldogs on Instagram. I'll be putting some live content out there on my stories when the game's on and on the lead up. So if you want more content, make sure to check out at Just Bulldogs. But otherwise, 5:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon, Bulldogs taking on the West Tigers. Very excited for it. Appreciate everyone for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.